Hello, and thank you for checking in to our ACANY and Life Plan virtual learning session for June 16th, 2026. This session provides an overview of the Intellectual and Developmental Disabilities Ombudsman Program, or IDDO, and how it supports individuals and families navigating OPWDD services. You'll hear from IDDO Supervising Attorney Flora Ramirez, who shares both professional expertise and personal insight into the system, highlighting how the program empowers people through advocacy, education, and guidance. The presentation also explains how IDDO works alongside care managers and other providers to help individuals access the services and supports that they need. In this session, you will learn what the IDDO is and how it serves as an independent advocate for individuals with intellectual and developmental disabilities, how to navigate OPWDD eligibility, services, and supports, including common challenges and solutions, the types of assistance IDDO provides, including education, mediation, and case support, and how to access IDDO services, including the statewide helpline and available resources. This presentation is intended for members, families and caregivers, care managers, and providers seeking guidance on navigating OPWDD services and supports. We hope you find this session helpful and informative. Let's get started.
Hi, everyone. Thank you, Catherine. All right. So we've been in operation for over a year, but I think it's always important to remind people of the resources available to them to get help. So like Catherine said, I'll be talking to you about IDDO. Oops, so sorry. Can you guys still see my screen? Yes, right?
Yes.
Okay, so a little bit about myself. I am I have a 7-year-old on the autism spectrum first and foremost. So I'm a mom of a 7-year-old who receives OPWDD support and services. I am the lead project, supervising attorney for this program at Community Service Society of New York. So I supervise this program since inception, so since it launched. I'm an attorney and I have experience in family law. But also I have experience running other ombuds programs for Community Service Society. So the first thing that I like to start with is what is IDDO? We're an ombudsman program, and a lot of people are unfamiliar with that word. So I like to sort of define that and center yourself as to what we're talking about here. So ombudsman is a Swedish word that means representative. And our job is to advocate, mediate, and educate people first and foremost, because we want people empowered. We want people to know about what services are available to them, and we want them to know how to navigate those services, right? And so we advocate, educate, and mediate. You may have heard of ombudsmen in nursing homes, some universities, government agencies, and insurance companies. So for the IDD community, this is the first time that because of people's advocacy, you guys have an ombudsman program, and we're it. How did we get started? Which is also very important. The community, the constituency identified that you needed help, that the system is very complex, and that you needed someone, an independent entity that could help you navigate a very complex system. So we serve as your independent advocate, and we educate, and we are an objective resource of information. So you identified a problem, and you fought really hard to make sure that we were passed into law. So in 2023, finally, Mental Hygiene Law 33.28 was passed, and OPWDD needed to fund one agency to provide independent, conflict-free ombudsman services to assist individuals with intellectual developmental disabilities and preserve their rights. That's literally what the statute said, what the law says. And so in 2024, the Community Service Society was awarded the funding opportunity to launch this program. And so that's how what is our mission? We want to act as a resource to you, and we want to advocate on your behalf as you navigate the OPWDD supports and services system. So this is a brief timeline. So 33.28, which is the mental hygiene law, was passed into law. In February, OPWDD releases a request for proposals, which basically means, hey, nonprofits out there or organizations out there, tell us if you want to, run this project for us. You have to be independent and you have to meet this criteria. Describe how you can do this. And we did. And in the summer of 2024, they chose Community Service Society. I was hired immediately. I wrote the proposal, so I was one of the first hires. In the fall of 2024, I started hiring my team. And in December 2024, December 13th to be specific, we launched our project. So what do we do in terms of our work? Mainly, we provide direct services through our helpline and through casework. We provide education and outreach. Again, we think it's very important to empower people, to educate people so that you understand what resources are available to you, what services you're entitled to, and how we can help you. And a third sort of like prong of the things that we do is that we collect data and we provide policy, a sentinel loop to OPWDD. In other words, we collect all this data and we tell them, look, this is what's not working, and this is how you could potentially fix it. So that's sort of like the third step in the things that we do. So direct services, education and outreach, and then that policy loop. So here an example of some of our services. So we educate on OPWDD eligibility and the front door process. We explain how to get the necessary assessments and documents. We explore certified and non-certified housing options for you. We answer questions about the role of the CCOs and care managers. We help you navigate self-direction and other home and community-based services. And finally, we advise on the right to a fair hearing, a conference, and other due process rights. These are the services that we do not provide. We do not replace the very important role of care management. Care managers play a critical role in your supports and services, and so we do not replace that. But we are a bridge and we help you guys sort of like navigate a very complex system. So oftentimes we work together with CCOs. We do not navigate school-based services, supports and services, unfortunately, so only related to OPWDD. And we do not help with access to medical care or early intervention services. However, I always say that because CSS is so amazing, we've been in operations with over 100 years, we also we usually have a very good resource for you. So we like to sort of like do meaningful referrals and connections should you need any of these services that we do not provide. So, like I said, you have this program available to you. It's been in operation for a year and a half. Well, how do you contact them? I like to remind people that I operate a statewide helpline. So anywhere in New York State, you can call us from 9 to 5 p.m. And if you call us during that time, we work extremely hard to make sure that you get a live person to answer your call. So we have counselors that speak Spanish, and we have at least one that speaks Mandarin and Cantonese. And where we don't have a language that you need, that the person speaks, then we definitely connect with the language access line, and we try our best to service you how you feel most comfortable. In this slide, you can find our helpline number, and you can also find our website. So we have a very good website that launched last summer. And not only can you find out how to get help from us there, fill out a contact form to contact us, but also you can find resources. So sometimes people have questions about self-direction or the waiver services or care management or anything related to OPWDD. We've worked to sort of like create resources, do-it-yourself documents, tip sheets, and we've posted them there so you can also use our website, or your website rather, as a resource available to you. So this is a CCO meeting, and we thought it was very important to tell you, how do we work with CCOs? So IDDO staff are instructed on CCO policies and best practices for reaching out on behalf of members. When appropriate and with consent, IDDO may facilitate conversations with members and care managers or CCO staff. So if you come to me with a problem or a question because you're confused about something, one of the first things that I'll probably ask you is to sign a consent so I can talk to your care manager and sort of like find out where you are in the process. And then we bring all of you together and, we make sure that you understand where you are in the process, and then we habilitate that relationship, because really care managers, again, are critical to your access to supports and services. We may support the care manager's efforts by providing subject matter knowledge or conducting research and vice versa. So for example, we've had care managers call us and say, we're trying to get this kid in emergency CRO, can you help us? And we may help with like a justification letter. So like, which means a letter explaining why this person should get emergency placement or be on the emergency list rather. A care manager might be struggling getting someone through the waiver, which is incredibly difficult sometimes depending on age and other factors. And we work together. Again, we work together collaboratively to make sure that you get the supports and services you need. All right. So I'll give you a couple of stories to put things into context. So Felix's story. Victoria contacted IDDO on behalf of her son Felix, who is 3 years old. The family lives in Region 3. Both parents work full-time. Their other family lives out of the country. Felix has a rare genetic mutation that has led to his intellectual disability. They had been working with a CCO to obtain OPWDD HCBS waiver. Victoria received a letter or a notice of decision stating that the application did not demonstrate that he met, in other words, Felix met the reasonable indication of need. The CCO specialist had worked with Victoria to submit an eligibility packet with a justification letter. Victoria had requested a fair hearing, but wanted assistance with next steps. How IDDO was able to help Felix. So the case handler connected with the care manager, got a consent, connected with the care manager, and reviewed the eligibility documents that were submitted, and recommended that they request the conference first before a fair hearing was scheduled. The IDDO case handler was able to work with Victoria and the CCO specialist to get clarification from OPWDD's Regional Office 3 about the reason for the denial and submit updated documents with an updated justification letter. Shortly after, they received the news that Felix had been approved for waiver. So as you can see, everybody plays an important role. We work together. We look at what was submitted. How can we make this a better submission or representation of the situation? And together, again, we work to get the person the supports and services that they need. Rihan's story. Hamida contacted IDDO to ask for help applying for OPWDD for her 5-year-old son, Rihan. She reported that she did not know where to start and needed help to know what to do next. IDDO explained the eligibility process step by step and ensured that they had information in both English and Bengali, the language spoken at home, and connected Hamida to a CCO and made sure the CCO was able to submit an initial OPWDD eligibility application for Rihan. And like I said, it's always better when we work together. IDDO has already been able to work with CCO staff and care managers with successful results. Thank you to CCO staff who have already contacted us and referred members. We also love that. Because actually our statute says, in other words, the law 33.28 says that we help families. Obviously, we help participants, the most important, right? The members themselves. We help their families and caregivers, and we help providers because, again, we all have a common goal, which is making sure that people have access to the supports and services that they need. Let me talk a little bit about IDDO's education and outreach. So we use a hub and spokes model. Like I said, let's center ourselves. We have a statewide helpline. You call us 9 to 5 p.m. We're there to help you. If you call us after hours, it becomes you can leave us a voicemail. That becomes a callback in our system, and we will call you back when we're back in operation. But what I also thought that would be important is to provide opportunities across the state, right, in different regional offices, areas where people can learn about us because we exist, but a lot of people still don't know that they don't know that we are a resource. So we are supported by its spokes, which are our specialists. So we rely heavily also on our New York lawyers for the public interest. They're our specialists. So if there's like a complex issue that I want research on or I want someone's opinion, I reach out to them. And we have our regional outreach network that is made up of 9 community-based organizations across the state. And they're made up of self-advocates, which I think it's really cool, parent and caregiver groups, and of course, community-based organizations, because we've always found that sometimes people feel more comfortable learning about things from their members of organizations in their community. These are our partners across the state. You may be familiar with some of them. So this is a list. And yeah, so what they do is they promote us. They make sure people know that we exist so that then you have the information you need to contact us and ask for help. And this is a slide on the New York Lawyers for the Public Interest. And again, they provide training and help us with complex cases and research. And I wanted to tell you again, we launched in December 13, 2024, and we recently published our first annual report from the period of January 1st, 2025 to December 31st, 2025. So 1 year of work. And I invite you to use your phone to get access to it with this code or click on the link. But as you can see, just quickly, we helped over 1,000 people. We had 1,100 cases. We help people in more than one issue, so it's never like a one-shot deal. People have problems with different things. And we handled almost 1,200 helpline calls. And again, I take a lot of pride on live answer. I hate calling somewhere that I get a voicemail. It drives me crazy. I want to be able to speak with a live person. So we continuously work to make sure that you have someone live. If you call us between 9 to 5, we really try hard to get someone on the line for you so that you speak with a human being. But if not, we try to promptly reach back out to you. Right. So again, this is our email, our website, our helpline, and when we're in operation, this is our flyer. You can use the QR codes to access our social media where we continuously try to share information with you all, tell us about what we're up to and what we're doing. So yeah, okay. All right.
Thank you, Flora.
So
Okay. We
I'm
had
all
some
yours to answer
questions.
questions.
We had some questions in the chat, and some were, I did put the contact info for the IDDO in there so they can access the phone number as well as that helpline website. But we'll go through help finding respite. Is that something that the DDO can help
Yes.
with?
We
Okay.
can absolutely help with that.
Okay.
Now, I won't say that respite is easy to find, right? It
Mm.
depends on the special situation. But what we'll do is we'll ask you the right questions. We'll know where you are in the process and what type of respite you're looking for. And we'll work with you and your care manager to find you that respite. Yes.
Great. What about housing?
Yes. I think it's critical for people. So not only do we educate people on the housing options, there are many types of housing options out there, and it's somewhat complex to understand those. So we help you explore the different types of housing options, whether it be a housing subsidy or whether you need to really be in a more restrictive setting, such as a certified housing, certified provider. So yes, we help you through that process.
Okay, great. I've been trying for a long time to enroll my autistic son in the OPWDD program, but I keep being assigned the same care coordinator. What can I do to receive a different coordinator or additional assistance? So that would be a good one to contact our member relations
I was
department. So I'm
gonna
going to
say.
pop the email in the chat for that as well. Wow. And the OPWDD services piece, Laura, you all can probably help advocate or
The
help
which piece?
OPWDD services.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah.
Okay. Yep, there's some specific questions. Those would be great to call that help number with. Let's see. Can friends of individuals with disabilities access supports from the Ombudsman programs as natural supports?
It depends on what type of support, right? So I am reading some things on the chat that are very specifically, and I would love to discuss offline. So I invite you to call the helpline. But if, the support that a friend needs, for example, is more of like emotional support or mental health support, if that's the type of support, we do have our sister program called CHAMP, and they're the behavioral ombudsman. So they help people access mental health services, and things of that nature to support you. Now, we're happy to have the person call us and tell us what type of support, and we'll connect them to the appropriate, because support is a very general word. But yes, anyone can call us. Providers call us all the time. Care managers call us. People from OPWDD call our helpline with like anyone can call us, and we'll try our best to help.
You all are wonderful.
Thank you.
Let's see. Trying to obtain OPWDD eligibility for my son on the spectrum. OPWDD keeps sending letters for more documentation, um, which the
Call us.
psychologist, okay, the level
We
two
see that.
review.
We see that, right? Like I would need to please call us. Absolutely, we help with that.
Okay.
We help you understand the letter. We help you sort of like understand what documentation is missing. We help you sort of like strategize where to get it, how to make an appointment to get it. And again, we work with your enrollment specialist if appropriate or care manager, depending on whether or not you have care manager services because they submit. So we can help you absolutely, but CCO is critical in the actual submission.
Okay. Let's see. So yep, again, these are a lot of questions. Been on the waiting list for Medicaid. Can you help me get through this process?
So yes, can I speak about that for a second? But
Absolutely.
I'm
Go ahead.
seeing a lot of like, I'm already in the process, almost finished. We can help you. We can help you understand what happens after you get waiver because actually you're still not quite there, depending on what you're looking for. So please call us. At Medicaid waitlist. Um, we also have a sister program called the Facilitated Enrollment for the Age Blind and Disabled. And to keep it very simple, because I'm not gonna give people like a lesson on Medicaid and like, public health insurance programs in this short time. Individuals that are, fall into that bucket, like the category of disability, have a different process than people that go through the New York State of Health. And so there is help out there to help you apply. So when people talk to me about wait lists, I'm not sure what they mean, but if there's a wait list within the CCO to get you help, we can help you get help elsewhere. You can get your Medicaid um, outside of the CCO because they don't themselves process Medicaid applications. Medicaid applications go through the local district. And so, yes, call us so that we can give you a meaningful referral for someone to help you complete that Medicaid application.
Laura, there's a question about IDDO and how they communicate with OPWDD leadership,
Yeah.
about different processes and things that are and are not working. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Absolutely. I invite you to read our annual report. We take our data very seriously because that is what talks to about trends, what we see across different regional offices. And I meet with OPWDD leadership at least once a week. I talk to the commissioner on very specific cases where I think things should be working differently. We're very outspoken about things that could be better and should change. But that's why we're also very hands-on in helping people navigate processes that are very complex and that sometimes go above sort of like a care manager where we need to sort of like escalate together in unison to make sure that the person gets through. Is that helpful? So yes, absolutely. I report back on trends. I tell them what's going wrong, how they could fix it. And I talk to OPWDD leadership constantly. Every week I check in with them and, sometimes more than that. I hope that's helpful. We do help with FSS. FSS can be difficult to access. We help you explain FSS and how to exhaust it before you can move on or what that means. We educate you on that. That can be incredibly confusing to people sometimes. We do not provide legal representation, and I think that's important to be very clear about. I am an attorney, but I am not providing legal representation. What we do is we help people navigate their due process rights, and that could be help them in a fair hearing, help them through a conference situation, help them on a 633 matter. But I'm not representing you in my capacity as an attorney now. If you need an attorney, what we can do is we can work with our partner, New York Lawyers for the Public Interest, to give you meaningful referrals if you're looking for that legal representation.
I just want to step in and say, I know there's a lot of really specific questions on here and specific requests from folks. So I just want to make it clear that if you are in need of support from the IDDO and Flora's team, you'll have to call their helpline. So Flora's not going to take any referrals specifically from this chat box, but the information on how to contact the IDDO team is in the chat and will also be on the PowerPoint that we send out. So just want to make sure I'm clear about that.
Yeah, someone asked a general question about the process would look like. If I agree with Lindsay, I don't have access to this chat beyond this thing, so I'm not going to be taking any referrals through here. I invite you to call our helpline or submit a contact form on our website, and we're happy to help you. Someone said, can you describe what the process would look like if I call, say, from Central New York? It would look the same. You call, we are located in New York City, to be specific, and we staff the helpline from 9 to 5 Monday through Friday. No matter where you call us from the state, the process is the same. You will get a person, like counselor, on the phone, and they will ask you a series of questions or an intake to sort of like try to identify what the issue is and what you need help with. And then that person, if the issue relates to OPWDD and therefore is within scope, will then open a case for you and help you from there. And so one of the things that they may say to you is like, okay, I understand what's going on. I'm going to be opening a case. I'm going to now need a consent. And that is because sometimes we need to talk to CCOs. And sometimes I need to talk to OPWDD about your case. And so, we need sort of like that release to allow me the freedom to talk to different parties. Sometimes I need to talk to a provider or a fiscal intermediary, etc. And then that person becomes your case handler and they help you throughout that process. I hope that's helpful. So it doesn't matter where you call from.
I wanted to jump into, there's a couple of comments in here about FSS or waiting to apply for waiver services if you're outside of the income limit for Medicaid. And our team, the member relations team, that's a main function of our team at both CCOs, Life Plan, and ACA. So if you're feeling like my child has OPWDD eligibility, but I don't have a care manager, we recognize that that is a tricky place to be in, and your family is still eligible for some services that are non-Medicaid funded. So I'm going to put our email addresses for both CCOs, whether it's Life Plan or ACA, in the chat, and you should feel free to also reach out. I mean, of course, reach out to Flora's team if you want. They're great, but we're an additional resource too that can help you navigate those FSS services, navigate frustrations or concerns with your care manager. Flora and I are in pretty regular contact about cases that we share. So I guess the bottom line is to reiterate what Flora said. We always can work together on certain cases, and reaching out to either one of us is going to be a way to get some support.
Yeah, I see a lot of, yeah, a lot of questions, all within scope, by the way, most of them. And if not, I saw a guardianship one that we can help you find a good referral. And I do think that's a very important topic, guardianship. So again, call us. We're happy to help. Yeah. Did I miss anything?
Hey, let me see here.
Yes, the IDDO service is free for families.
Yes,
No
yes.
charge.
It's a good one.
Wow, yes, we're free and confidential. We're independent from OPWDD. I don't share my data with OPWDD in terms of specific data of people unless I need to and you sign a consent to allow me to, if that makes sense.
Okay, let's see. Oh, Matt had a comment. He's a provider, Sunshine Home Care for skilled nursing and home care services. Can I work with the IDDO to educate the school on their responsibility to provide nursing to their special needs students?
That sounds out of scope. Because, right? I mean, right, that's not a service provided by OPWDD itself, right? It would be through Medicaid.
That's true.
You can call me, you can message me,
Yeah.
and we can talk about it more. But just with that information, they do have to, though, provide that. But it's not, in my job to really get involved with that. All right.
Put the number to the IDDO in the chat a bunch of times, that link to the website. We're going to be sending the slides out, so the information will be in there. All these questions are great questions to go directly
Yes.
to the IDDO, your care manager, or our department.
And I'll say this is incredibly complex. And so, I recognize that. And so we are happy to slow down for you and explain things to you and provide you with resources and send you step-by-step emails and repeat it again. It's like our job. So please feel free to call us.
Yeah. All right. Preschools are required. Perfect. Yes. Okay. Yeah, Matt, you could share the contact information with the families of the kiddos you work with.
Yes, we do help with we don't ourselves conduct the evaluations, but we help you connect with a provider to do it. Matt, let me DM you. I'm just afraid, guys. I'm short staffed to be transparent, and I like to be very responsive to people, and I feel that if everybody emails me from this presentation, I won't be able to. Is that terrible? Can you put your email, Matt? Unless you guys, Catherine.
Yeah, we can get that
Catherine-
for you for
Okay,
sure.
great.
All right. Well,
All right,
thank you
thank you,
so much.
everyone. I hope this was a bit helpful. And I guess when in doubt, call us.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
whether you can or cannot get help, just call us.
And I think that informational piece is so valuable too, like the information is just so important. So, I think that is really important to reinforce that.
Yes, I went through this process myself many years ago, and it was incredibly confusing. So I understand how it can be really daunting and stressful. So I understand that, help sometimes is needed. All right, Catherine, there's
All
7 people
right.
now.
Yes,
Giving
thank you
emails in
so much,
Spanish.
Flor. Thank you for everything. Thank you for all you do off of the screen. And yes, we will keep speaking the great things about the IDDO.
Thank you. Thank
All
you.
right.
Bye-bye.
Bye, everybody.
Bye. Thank you.